TG Geeks, episode 320, April 5th, 2021. Stories, steam rooms, and cameras? Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the Two Gay Geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery, sci-fi, comics, film, horror genre, you name it. We talk about it. I am Keith Lane, and we're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely Phoenix, Arizona, where I was thinking about having turned the air conditioner on already.
Oh.
And I don't know where it was going to slip out there. Okay. Hi, and welcome to, we've turned the air conditioner on.
Okay, so yes, ladies and gentlemen, that's what it sounds like when a brain derails.
Exactly.
And I'm Ben Ragginson, coming to you from Phoenix, Arizona.
And let's get on with it.
Prepare for hyperdrive.
Meanwhile, in the Hall of Episodes, the Two Gay Geeks are discussing this.
Well, in this episode, we are going to talk to JC Calciano, who is a screenwriter, filmmaker, author, video...
video guy, because he tells about a video that he filmed.
Yeah. Well, and he did wedding videos as well.
And he did wedding videos as well, but I think...
very interesting.
With that whole steam room thing, I think we're getting to the areas of voyeurism.
Yeah, just about. And then we have our birthday shout-outs and our feature...
Podcast of the week.
Our featured podcast of the week. Oh, man.
This is going to be a fun show.
Favorite feedback and shout-outs. In our second segment, we have something we're going to talk about that...
we kind of talked about a little bit last week, but we'll talk about it today.
Oh, my gosh. And then our weekly recap and our regular shout-outs. So here we go. And this time we welcome to our show JC Calciano, filmmaker, author. Welcome to the show, JC.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's really a pleasure. And since I'm a big fan, it's kind of really, really excited to be here.
Whoa. Big fan?
Big fan?
Big fan.
You like us? I guess there are some people that like us, huh?
Yeah, well, yes, I'm one of them.
Yay.
I'm flattered.
Yay.
I'm embarrassed, but I'm flattered.
Some of the things we do on this show, oh my gosh. Anyway.
It's like I always feel like I need to apologize for some of the weird things we do.
Exactly. We get tickled too much. Anyway, we're here to talk about you and the things that you want to talk about. So why don't you give us your elevator pitch of, if you were going to the top of the Empire State Building, of your
meteoric rise,
your life, and how you got into writing, filmmaking, etc.
Well, no, I'm the one blushing. I don't know about meteoric. They say it takes 10 years to make an overnight success, and I guess in my case it took 30.
That's one heck of a long overnight.
But yeah, I was a filmmaker for a bunch of years, and about 12 years ago, I decided to try my hand at making my own films as opposed to producing other people's films. And I had found that 2008, that there were really no love stories or positive message LBT films that were just about two people falling in love. A lot of it had to do with prejudice and coming out and family conflict. And I thought, well, I just want to see a movie about two boys who fall in love in the sweetest, most wonderful way. And it's really, there's no outside conflict or prejudice. Their world is as normal as everybody else's world. So I wrote, directed, produced a movie called Is It Just Me? And that was a really great experience for me. So I made Is It Just Me and wanted to kind of play around with some short format, which brought me to YouTube back at the time, which was really kind of heating up and getting hot. So speaking of hot, I decided, well, I have an idea to do something super cheap, super easy. And I had a fog machine in my closet from a music video I produced years earlier. So I thought, well, let me just hang a shower curtain that looks like a tile on the back, and I'll get a couple of guys in towels and shoot and make it a Steamroom Story set. So I literally in my living room turned the fog machine on, had a couple of friends sit on a coffee table, put them in a tile, and I wrote a 3-minute sketch comedy routine, filmed it, put it up on YouTube, and we had so much fun doing that we did it again and again and again. And 260 episodes
Holy
later,
My God.
12 years after I kept doing it, turned into Steamroom Stories, which was and still is one of my favorite things to do. So I started Steamroom Stories. While I was doing Steamroom Stories, decided I had another idea for a feature film. Did another film called E-Cupid, rom-com type fable, love story. And that was really fun. Loved going on the festival circuit, meeting all these people and other filmmakers. So E-Cupid then turned into the 10-year plan, which was my third feature. And after the 10-year plan, I'm just kind of rambling, but I'll just kind of go through it since you asked me the filmography and history of it. After the 10-year plan, my husband, I was kind of burnt out, and I said, I don't really know about doing another feature film, and I enjoy doing the Steamroom Stories as shorts, but I don't really know what to do next. And he says, well, if you enjoy Steamroom Stories, then why not make that a movie? So the fans had been asking for it, so I turned Steamroom Stories, the YouTube series, into Steamroom Stories, the movie, and that came out a year ago.
Oh,
and that
wow.
had been such tremendous fun. I even did it in Scratch and Sniff, so you can have.
Oh my God, that is so retro.
Well, I'm a big John Waters fan, so so I actually even was able to email John and asked him. I said, are you cool with me doing Scratch and Sniff as an homage to you? And he wrote me back the sweetest email, and he said, I'm flattered. So I did the movie in Scratch and Sniff, and it came out. It's out on DVD, and it's been really really well received. And then as everyone knows, 2020 became a year that we were kind of stuck inside with the pandemic. So rather than making a sequel to the Steamroom Stories movie, I turned it into a novel. So I wrote a book. So I wrote the sequel of the movie into a book called Revenge of the BROBOT.
Oh, dear.
So that was kind of my first really foray into being an author and writing an original book. And that was super, super fun. And when I was done with the book, I decided, well, let me just write some short stories for my website, just to kind of attract people to being currently writing and new content. So, and we're coming towards the end. We're coming up to current times. So the short stories I started writing, and I put them on the Steamroom Stories website, and I called them Steamy Stories, which are 15-minute, sexy little. Kind of my husband refers to my writing as Disney sex because it's sexy but not dirty.
It's wholesome.
It's wholesome sex. Yeah, it was actually I write up until the point where they have sex because
Right.
we all kind of know what the mechanism is there, but the fun part is getting there. At least I think.
Yeah, I mean I like that Disney sex because they never show the demise of anybody, but what happened.
Yes, that the princess was somewhere deflowered somewhere, but they're not going to show that.
Yes.
I guess. so yeah.
Okay. And we just ventured off.
Yeah, Disney After Dark.
I'm sorry. Within the first 5 minutes we're into.
Hey, you get gay men together. This is what happens.
It always goes in the toilet.
It'll go into the toilet
or the steam room or whatever.
Yeah, it's inevitable.
Which is a perfect segue to wrap up where I'm currently at, which is I turned those short stories into a podcast. And as a podcast, I started a podcast with one of my Steamroom Stories actors named Ben Palacio, and we've now launched a podcast called Steamy Stories Podcast. So that's kind of my current project, is to work on Steamy Stories podcast and promote the book and sell the movies and blah blah blah. So that's where I am.
Cool. So what was it as a young man or a child or whatever? Were you always interested in making films, or was that your original vocation, or how did you come to start?
How did you get bitten by that bug?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess when my grandfather passed, he gave me, well, not before he passed, he gave me, but when he passed, I was about, I guess 10 years old, and I received a little camera, I don't know if you would call it a brownie camera, but let's call it a brownie camera, a little 8mm camera that you could do animation with. So I started doing animation, and I would do stop frame animation and make little films, and that kind of was really where it started. So I had so much fun making these little films and do it using that little camera that back in the let's call it 70s, my dad brought home one of the very, very first video cameras. I must have been at that point now 18 years old, 17, 18 years old. And it was one of these giant cameras that had a long umbilical cord to these decks, these Betamax decks. So
they're like the size of the space shuttle.
Yes, exactly.
It's literally to the point that I bought a tripod that had wheels on it, so the deck was on the base of the tripod, and I had extension cords. It was nuts. But I started videotaping weddings, and at 17 years old, I was making a lot of money because I was the only one with a camera, and I was the only one kind of knowing and doing this. So I was really fortunate that I was booking all these weddings, and it was a brand new thing back then. So I got a lot of experience doing weddings, and I found it really fun and very lucrative. And then I heard about this new channel that they were launching called MTV, and I went over to I lived in New York at the time, and I went over there and I told them that I was this genius filmmaker, and they were like, all right, well, we need some music videos. So I made now I'm going to test to see how old you guys really are.
Oh, this will be fun.
Yeah.
Here's some music. So back then there was a song I heard that they were from a record company. So they referred me to a record company that's no longer here or there or existence in the Bronx. And they were mixing a song, and I said, "Oh, that song is going to be a hit. So I want to do that music video." And they said, "Well, it's really a B track. We're not even going to release the song." I said, "I will do it for cost. I will make that video. I will do that song for cost." And I made the video, and the video went gold so quickly that they ran out of records to sell it to go to platinum. So that's how quickly that video was. So,
wow. It is
the song. I don't know if you remember it. Is called "Wiggle It Just a Little Bit."
Who's that by?
Sounds familiar. By who?
And I would sing it for you, but my husband would. He laughs every time I try to sing, so now he's giving me a complex. So on singing But the song is called "Wiggle It" by Two in a Room, and it was a big song in, I guess you'd call it, early '80s. So
I was watching MTV then, and I got to admit, I'm not familiar with that one, or it may have just gone in one ear and out the other.
Yeah. Now,
I do know this. I do know this song, but so that was kind of. I started doing music videos for a little while, and then then just got caught up in production. But yeah, that's kind of I don't even know where where that kind of brought me, how I got to that point where we got in this conversation. But
interesting.
But anyway, that's a little bit of backstory on me.
Yeah, well, we are old enough to. I remember the Monkees. They're a couple, and Paul Revere and the Raiders.
Yeah,
the couple of videos that they did that would run during their shows or whatever, and occasionally you would see them independently of one of their shows.
I was watching Don Kirshner, and that's pre-MTV. Okay,
yeah. So I'm 61, so
and I will be 60 in just a little over 3 months.
So
all right,
we are ancient.
Right. I'm not trailing you by too much. So
we've been there, done that. So yeah, I remember when MTV made its big splash.
Well, I do too. At the time, though, we didn't get it because it was subscription only. So we weren't able to watch it for the first few years, which pained me. And I wouldn't be surprised if the song kind of maybe that's when it had its big heyday, because at that time I wasn't able to watch it. It wasn't until a few years later that finally MTV got rolled into another package, and I was able to watch it then. And I would have MTV on like 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was the thing back then. Sure, it was super popular. And yeah, no, I remember a friend of mine. I was on the train going to New York, and they were like, "Oh, they're starting this channel. They're making videos," and so I was like, "That's really cool." So
wow.
Yeah, it's so funny how you kind of think back as to the things that we did, things that started, and things that we didn't have, as opposed to things that we do have now.
Exactly.
It's just kind of.
And I'm sure that if you
even like with Is It Just Me in the movie, the movie was made. I shot the movie in 2009, and it seems the strangest thing. But in the movie, there's no smartphones. There's no Apple. We didn't have iPhones back then. So you look at the movie and you go like, oh, it just seems like the most natural thing. We've had an iPhone forever, but I'm like, just what 12 years ago. We didn't have the phones, so exactly. It's always every time I see the movie in there with their flip phones, I was like, really? I didn't use an iPhone back then?
Exactly. Yeah. One of the crazy things that I always tell people is my very first iPhone was one of the real tiny ones, not the original, but it was like the successor model. And I was so excited, and I just have a fascination with this book of Great Expectations.
He read the entire book.
Great Expectations on my iPhone on that tiny, tiny screen.
It was an iPhone 3 or iPhone 4.
Oh yeah, no, I know, I had a 4. Yes, that's quite a feat. That is quite a feat.
And he was happy doing it too.
Yeah. Anyway,
I want to jump over to this Revenge of the BROBOT. Now, what intrigued me is I took a look at the YouTube trailer that you created for it, and I was astonished by some of the I don't know if I want to call them tropes, but some of the themes that kind of pop into this. And I have to wonder one thing: are you a sci-fi fan?
Yeah, I guess you would call me a sci-fi fan, sure.
Because
I do enjoy it.
I'm gonna throw something out.
We're not judgmental about if you like some crazy something. We are not here to judge you.
No.
If you consider it sci-fi, then you're cool.
Yeah, we're not here to judge you. We'll just determine if you're worthy talking to in the future. I kid. But the thing that really got my attention, and of course, I'm about to once again betray my age by saying this, just based on the little trope, little thing that I saw in the trailer for it. How certain entities want to get their hands on him, and the first thought that ran through my head was, I wonder if this guy has ever read or seen the movie The Quester Tapes, which was something that Gene Roddenberry did post Star Trek.
Norman, coordinate.
No.
Yeah, actually, no. I've never even heard of him.
That just shows how much of how old and a geek I am. Let's just say that
you're sci-fi. That's why I paused on sci-fi fan, because I do love sci-fi, but I'm not super.
We're big geeks.
Aware of it. I'm not super familiar with all of the content that's out there of it. So, that's why. But
what impressed me is that you took what was, I would say, a very universal theme in 70s and maybe even early 80s sci-fi about artificial intelligence. Let's just forget the fact that it's couched in a really gorgeous looking body, but it's still this artificial intelligence. And what was a big thing in 70s sci-fi? The military wants to get their hands on it. And I thought that is a really interesting kind of thing to introduce here. I mean, for me, it was a real throwback and one that made me smile, and that's why I had to ask the question. So I don't know if you were realizing that you actually pulled out something that was a big theme in 70s science fiction, even 60s science fiction. This would pop up from every now and then.
Well, there's always been androids, somewhat.
Well,
something.
Yeah. Well, any kind of computerized function. I mean, you
all the way back to Robbie.
Well, yeah, Robbie the robot. I was thinking something. Maybe a little bit of a twist on Colossus.
Plan 9? Yeah.
No. Oh, please. You're mocking me now, aren't you?
No, I would never do that. Anyway, we've lost control of this conversation. We're here to talk about you.
I think, I mean, I guess, because I watch a lot of 80s content, 70s and 80s content. It certainly makes sense that's where I would imprint. I mean, even with the movie Steamroom Stories, the movie, it's an homage to the 80s movie, the Spring Break and Mannequin and Real Genius and all those kinds of movies that's the fantastical happens. So it's very kind of in brand for me to pull 70s and 80s tropes and kind of freshen them up and modernize them a little bit. But really the theme with Revenge of the BROBOT was really kind of the whole thing about, people obviously male female love, and then male female, male female, and all the combinations. And I was like, I want to address that, but kind of from a third party, stepping out of it a little bit and make it about a man and a robot, and whether it's a robot or not, what are the judgments on that,
right?
And how to perceive what and how people perceive love. So it was kind of my exploration from kind of an outsider. So we're not really addressing the male, female, or any of those combination. But what is it like just to be in love with something, and how does the character feel about that, and how does he come over his own prejudices when he brings that to the table? So that was really where the germination of the idea was.
That's fascinating.
I think it sounds really interesting. I definitely want to take a gander at this book. I'm very interested in it.
So the love that is different is a really good topic, and you said something way early on that we've talked to several people about making gay or LGBTQ filmmakers that are now beginning to make films that are just about, here we are. And, Jason his films are all
Jason
about
Gaffney.
Here we are. This is two gay men. They're just living their lives. They don't have to deal with the coming out or the stigma or all of this
any
other
of
crap.
Those trappings.
So it's just a story about two gay men, and I appreciate that.
What I think is interesting is that there seems to be this cognitive evolution that has taken place. I mean, you're doing it. A number of other people, Suzanne Brockman, she has written stories on this. Her son, Jason T. Gaffney, he's acting in stories like this. It's like there is this movement now that has just evolved out of nowhere to start telling these kinds of stories. And I think it's wonderful that we're getting them now.
It's important to focus on the coming out and all of that, but that's been done. And it certainly has a place even today. But I think we've gotten to the point where we can just tell stories about two gay men
just relationships,
living life.
Yeah, simple relationships.
That's exactly how. That's exactly what I felt. When in 2008, I was like, listen, in stories about coming out and stories about dealing with families and being not accepted in society it's all great. It's all great, and people are doing it. People are doing it, and I don't. What are people not doing? Where is it that people are not talking about it? And I feel like I needed to show young people that just we exist and we love, and it's a non-issue. Mm-hmm. And I will say this, and I'll tell you this story quickly, which really kind of blew my mind, was when I was at a film festival, I think it was Chicago. And I was showing the 10-year plan. This is 2016. I was showing the 10-year plan, and the theater was empty, and I was cleaning up. And these two young people came in. They must have been about 18 years old, and there's a boy and a girl. And they came in, and she kept prodding him to go talk to me, and he was too embarrassed to talk to me. And I thought, maybe he lost his cell phone or something. So finally, he came over to talk to me, and he said, he said, I drove 3 hours to see your new movie, and I wanted to meet you in person because when I was younger, and he must have been like, at this point, 11, 12 years old, he said, I saw it, is it just me? And, I was just terrified of being gay, and I was terrified of my life if that's who I was. He said, and then I saw, is it just me? And then I realized that I can be okay, and I can find love, and there's a world out there that's not terrible for me as a gay person. And he said, and literally, that watching that film saved my life. And
wow.
And that just completely changed my direction as a creator, in that I now, and at that point, and I always knew there was an importance to it, but at that point I said, you know what, I'm going to put a message of inclusion in my work, and that people are, if you are different, you are okay, and you deserve to love yourself and to be loved just as everyone else. And that became my mandate from that point on, to have that messaging in all my work. Exactly. So that was really, when I see these movies being made, like you just mentioned today, you see Hallmark making films and more mainstream streamers out there. And I'm like, thank God that we're putting this message out there for people to see and consume, and young people to identify with, because it wasn't there a decade ago, as you probably remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's I thank you for sharing that. I think that is a wonderful way to completely wrap this up. I'd love to talk to you some more, seriously, because I think there's a lot more conversation to be had. But in the meantime, if people want to find you, or if they want to find your work, let's start with just the work.
Yeah,
where can they find the work?
You got so many different things going here.
Yeah, where can they find your work? Be it movies, the book Revenge of the BROBOT. Where can they find all of that?
Well, to make it easy for you, it's my name is JC Calciano, and so I started. I have a website, jccalciano.com. So there you can find me as a writer, and you could find all the work at jccalciano.com. If you wanted to see more of Steamroom Stories or Steamy Stories, steamroomstories.com is really kind of the place to go, and all my social links are there. And the production company that I started 12 years ago is called Cinema 175, cinema175.com. So you could find me at any of those three websites, and they're all kind of interconnect. So, if you go to one, you'll basically be invited to go to the other ones. So, my social is all there. So thank you for asking me that question. But, yeah, you can find me there. And all my content is up there.
Including your social media links.
Yeah, including all the social media links, yeah.
Coolness.
Do you want to highlight one or two of those? So
yeah, I mean, like, do you have a Twitter? Because a lot of people are using Twitter these days.
Yeah, I think my Twitter is Well, it's probably the one I use most is either Cinema 175, so it's probably at Cinema 175, and Twitter is probably at SteamRM Stories. So I think that those are probably my Twitter account. But usually I try to go by either Cinema 175 or JC Calciano.
Okay. Sounds great.
Thank you so much for being on our show this time.
Oh, thank you for having me. It was so fun. So thanks for talking about my work and great meeting you guys in person-ish on audio. But keep up your great work because I really enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You don't need to hear their identification. They're the Two Gay Geeks. They can go about their business. Move along.
Well, that was
a good conversation.
A really great conversation with JC. I can't wait to have him on again and chat some more about more stuff.
Yeah, because he does a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And here's a few selected birthdays for April 5th through April 11th, 2021. Wow, I am just with it today, huh?
You didn't take any allergy medicine, did you?
Not more, just the regular stuff.
Okay.
No, I didn't take a Benadryl, so
right.
I'm not loopy yet. So yes, that's L-O-O-P-E-Y or P-Y, not L-U-P-E. Lupe. Yes, I'm not Lupe.
No, you're Keith.
April 5th. Frank Gorshin.
What? Oh, never mind.
Actor, TV actor. Oh my gosh, character actor. My gosh, he was way back into the 50s and 60s.
Oh yeah,
tons and tons and
the
tons.
The man
of television.
had one heck of a career, and he was a brilliant comedian.
Yes, he was Batman. He was the Riddler. And on Star Trek, Let That Be Your Last Battlefield. Mm-hmm. He did a lot of stand-up in Vegas, and he started out at the age of 17. He won a contest and did a one-week stint at the Carousel Club in New York City.
I believe it.
And the only cast member from Batman to receive an Emmy nomination.
He deserved it because the guy was I could think of some others that really should have gotten a nomination, but he's definitely one that was worthy of receiving it. I saw him
actually changed the character.
He did.
Of Riddler from being a lesser, second tier.
Oh no, he turned him into a major villain.
Turned it into a major villain.
Made him a major villain. I saw Frank Gorshin perform at our county fair when I lived back in California. And in retrospect, I thought it was great that he was there. In retrospect, I think the county fair is too small for him. He's much bigger than that. But he was hilariously funny.
Yeah.
Even for a kid, I was, 12?
Yep.
13? And I was just falling out of my chair laughing.
And he did lots of impressions, too.
He was a very good impressionist.
The most, what did they say? It was, he influential impressionist or whatever in Hollywood at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the only one who could maybe outdo him would be Rich Little.
Yeah. Well, and Rich Little came a little after.
Just a little bit after him. Frank was amazing.
Yep.
No question.
Then we have Roger Corman, producer, director. What is to say about the king of the B movies, which he actually hated being called that, but it's true.
For a brief time, for a very brief time, he took on some Edgar Allan Poe stories and did some really big, lush, extravagant productions out of them that I think still stand the test of time.
Yep. He is actually one of the most prolific producers in Hollywood, even still today.
Even today. I think, how old is he?
90.
Yeah.
91 or something.
Go figure.
Known for very quick and inexpensive productions, Little Shop of Horrors set the record for the shortest shooting schedule for a feature film.
How many days?
2 days.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah.
A running gag in Hollywood is that he could negotiate the production of the film from a payphone, shoot the film in the booth, and finance it from the money in the change slot.
Yeah. And let's not talk about Roger Corman's Fantastic Four.
Oh, yeah.
You haven't seen that yet, have you?
No, I don't think
you have.
No,
we've got it. I've got it bookmarked in our Amazon Prime. I got it somewhere.
Yeah.
But It needs to be seen. It is so unbelievably awful.
And it's interesting, even for all of the stuff that he has produced, he started or mentored some of the biggest names of directors and actors. So Jack Nicholson, I mean, he gave Jack Nicholson.
That was Jack Nicholson's big break.
Yep, exactly. And then we have Betty Davis, Spencer Tracy, and Booker T. Washington on April 5th. April 6th, Paul Rudd, TV and movie actor, most known for Ant-Man, was a DJ at bar mitzvahs before his career took off.
How SNL.
Yep, and big fan of Rush.
Yes, he is.
Yes. He did a narration for one of the albums. I can't remember which one it was. I forgot to write it down.
A narration for an album?
Yeah, or narration for something.
Oh, I got to know what that is.
Yeah. And then we have Michael Rooker, actor, Mary Poppins. No, he wasn't in Mary Poppins. He just played or pretended to be Mary Poppins.
He looked like Mary Poppins.
Yes, there we go. Yondu and the Guardians of the Galaxy, Walking Dead, several projects in pre and post, and has a black belt in karate.
He was a really good sport in showing up at Marvel Comics and dressed up totally as Yondu. I mean, he just walked in and he had the whole makeup, everything, and it just it was all over social media.
Yep. Then we have Billy D. Williams and John Ratzenberger, Pixar's rabbit's foot, shall we say? Good luck, charm.
Well, except finally he was not in the movie Soul. If I'm correct.
That was weird.
I found that shocking.
Yeah, it was strange. April 7th, Harry Hay, a gay activist, founder of the Mattachine Society in 1950, the Gay Liberation Front in L.A. in 1969, and founded the Radical Fairies in New Mexico in 1979. He's been called the founder of the modern gay movement. However, he did also have some rather controversial opinions and beliefs, but they were really born out of his other advocacy. He advocated for several subcultures of the gay community and felt that nobody should be marginalized.
Good for him.
Within our own community. Died in 2002 at the age of 90.
Oh my goodness, I didn't realize.
Oh yeah. Billie Holiday, singer, woman of color, who pioneered several methods of jazz singing and became, Miss Jazz herself.
And even though her music is not readily played today,
oh my gosh,
we've listened to it because it's something that we listen to frequently when we're in the car.
Yep.
And I will say it stands the test of time because nobody could make those songs sound as good as she did.
Exactly, and that's why I played what I was playing earlier as I was preparing the script for this. She won 4 Grammy Awards posthumously. A fabulous artist who sadly turned to drugs and alcohol and died at the age of 44 in 1959. Then we have Jackie Chan, Francis Ford Coppola, Tiffany Rodriguez, a friend of ours, and Craig Baumler. April 8th, Robin Wright, actress. She went from princess to queen.
Yeah, she did.
Princess Bride to Wonder Woman. and Justice League. And House of Cards, Blade Runner.
Yeah, I was going to say, before she became queen, she was president of the United States.
Exactly.
So, hey, she knows where to go in order to establish that career.
Yeah, that's just to name a few.
Yeah.
She's the national spokesperson for myasthenia gravis. That's a neuromuscular disease. Mm-hmm. Katie Sackhoff, actress, Battlestar Galactica.
Your Freudian slip is showing.
It is. And in 24, The Flash, Mandalorian, became a fan of Star Trek because of her dad. She grew up in rural Oregon, St. Helens, Oregon, and could either watch Dynasty with her mother, Star Trek with her dad, or, this is a quote from her, the mating rituals of beavers on PBS. So she chose Star Trek. with her dad.
Okay. But, that's a good thing because I think that led to her career in BS Galactica, as well as, her turn in the Star Wars universe, first in the Clone Wars and then now in the Mandalorian, is great because we're already here. She's got a career now in Star Wars, and I could not be happier for that.
And then we have Julian Lennon, Mary Pickford, Franco Corelli, who was an opera singer, just a wonderful singer.
Oh, yeah.
And a friend of mine, Bruce Pulver. April 9th, Sorcha Cusack, actress. She was Coronation Street, Father Brown. And Discovery of Witches. She was a character in that, yes.
Really? God, we really need to get back into season 2 of that.
And she was born in Dublin, so she is definitely Irish. And she plays, what is her? Mrs. McCarthy. Mrs. McCarthy, yes.
I don't remember her.
What an Irish name.
I know. I'm beginning to think, I think I know who she was in Discovery of Witches, but oh man, I got to be sure about that.
Yep. And then we have Charles Steinmetz. German mathematician and electrical engineer. He fostered the development of alternating current.
Aha.
Yes. And then we have Jim Fowler, who replaced Marlon Perkins on Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom, and friend of ours, Tracy Klaas. April 10th, David Harbour, actor, Hellboy, Stranger Things, and Newsroom. Yeah, I didn't realize until about 6 episodes in.
I noticed him right away.
I thought he looks awfully familiar, and then I didn't look him up in IMDb until later, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I picked him out right away, but I didn't say anything.
Yep, and he is quoted as saying, "All of Aaron Sorkin's characters are so smart."
They are.
Yes.
They're dysfunctional, but they're smart.
Oh my God, yes.
They're all a mess.
Exactly. Daisy Ridley, actress, Star Wars. She was Rey, is the youngest of 5 sisters, and is a fan of the greatest Brit baking show.
Oh my God.
And then we have Haley Joel Osment, Max von Sydow, and Brian Setzer.
Amazing guitarist.
Yes. April 11th, Joel Grey.
I love this guy.
Actor, out gay man. He didn't come out until 2015.
Much late.
Yes. Cabaret. He was in an episode of Voyager. Remo Williams. Oh, my God.
I love him in that.
It's just, he's a scream. He was in an episode of Warehouse 13. He's 89.
My favorite role will be Christmas, The Spirit of Christmas Past.
Yes. And then we have Dale Messick, who actually her real name was Dahlia Messick. She was a cartoonist, one of the early woman pioneers in the cartoon industry. Brenda Starr Reporter debuted in 1940, and she continued to draw it until her retirement in 1980. And she changed her name, her pen name, to Dale, kind of, that androgynous Dale, so that she could get in front of editors.
Oh,
and
good grief.
People loved that cartoon strip. She was a reporter, and it appealed to both men and women. She was inducted to the Will Eisner Award Hall of Fame in 2001. She died in 2005 at 98.
Wow.
And then we have James Parkinson, who was a physician, discovered Parkinson's disease, if you will. I mean, it was named after his discovery of the palsy, shaking palsy. And then we have Sandra Radvanovsky, who is opera singer. We've heard her in a couple of Met productions here in the last couple of years. Quite the singer. And then a friend of ours, Donald Scott Massey. And that's it for the birthdays this time.
Technorama, the podcast for geeks, because geeks are better than cool. You don't hear someone say, "Get away from me, you cool person." Who's gonna have their 65-inch home theater system installed by the Cool Squad? Not me, that's for sure. How much cool cred do you have? Not enough to care about. Think you'll find any canned unicorn meat at thinkcool.com? It's just a part domain name. They don't even have roadkill in a paper cup. That's why you need to start listening to Technorama, because that's what geeks do. Go to chuckchat.com and listen to Technorama before you turn cool.
We don't want anybody to turn cool. Go give a listen
heaven
to
forbid.
our friends Chuck and Craig over at Technorama Podcast.
I'm Daniel Radcliffe, and I believe that reaching out for help is the bravest thing a person can do. If you are struggling and need support, call the Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386. It's free and confidential, and trained counsellors are there to listen 24/7 without judgment. To learn more about the Trevor Project's life-saving work for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning young people, go to thetrevorproject.org.
We want to give a regular shout out, as always, to Joshua Tree Feeding Program because of the great work that they are doing. They are a 501c3 nonprofit food pantry for the HIV and AIDS community in Maricopa and Pinal counties. They offer a safe place where the clients can come and select a wide assortment of nutritional foods to take home, and they set it up like a store so that the clients can come choose the food that they want and no food is wasted. They are an all-volunteer organization, but they do have some overhead, so please consider supporting Joshua Tree either through a single or a monthly recurring gift. You may also consider being a Pearl member for $30 a month. And they, as a gift for joining that, they'll send you a handmade Pearl pin. Go to jtfp.org.
And it's time for our favorite feedback, and each of these news items that created this feedback will be featured in the show notes for this episode number 320 at tggeeks.com. And I'm particularly tickled by the first two because these are people who we've known from our Slice of Sci-Fi days, and they followed us over. Yay! Starting with regarding TG Geeks episode number 314, and during that episode we talked a little bit about WandaVision. We got a comment from Curtin Calgary, and he left this on Twitter. He said, it had better not turn out that Tommy's mom and Billy's mom have the same name. No, Kurt. Tommy's mom is named Wanda, but Billy's mom is named Martha.
Ooh.
Then we got a comment from Arkle. He left this for us on YouTube, and we did mention Johnny Cash because it had been his birthday, and I had mentioned some song that he had covered, but I wasn't sure about it, and he comes in and says, forgive me for being that guy, but the song Johnny Cash covered was called Hurt, and the original was by 9 Inch Nails. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was it, and I thought Johnny Cash did a brilliant job on that. Then, from the Fizz Popcast radio show, they left this for us on Instagram. They said, can't wait to listen. I love it when the two of you are chatting with each other. I just want to say, I really... That means a lot to me.
Yeah.
Because we live in a bubble, so we have no
Exactly.
idea what people are thinking about us. So when we get feedback like that, it really makes us feel very good. And I'm not saying that to be, narcissistic or I need to have my ego soothed or anything like that. But we just don't know what people think. And to hear that kind of feedback really means a lot to me. And I know it means a lot to Keith as well. So thank you for sharing that.
Yep.
Moving on, regarding This Got Made, hosted by Carlton Tetley, Season 2, Episode G, Battlestar Galactica. Got a comment from Hamish Downey on Twitter. He said, I really enjoyed this series. Muppets meets comics meets James Lipton.
Exactly.
I think that was the idea.
That's the whole idea.
And then we got another comment from the Fizz Popcast radio show. Again, on Instagram, they said, I love these. Keep puppetry alive. Then, regarding Hamish Downey's 5 questions with Tony Clementi Jr., got a comment from Tony Clementi Jr. on Twitter. He said, so excited to have been interviewed by Hamish Downey for TG Geeks. You can read about my career, short films, writing projects, and what's coming next. And then lastly, regarding Arizona Opera to premiere new concert series Arizona Arias on Sunday, March 14th. That goes to show how far back we are on our feedback.
Exactly.
Got a comment from Arizona Opera on Instagram, and they say, thank you for sharing. And that is our feedback for this time.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Hamish because his 2 columns, the 5 questions with and his news sushi, both of those run on Fridays, and it depends on how,
what's going on with him.
What's going on with him, whether he has news sushi or whether he has a 5 questions with, are some of the most popular things that we run. Thank you, Hamish. You do a fabulous job.
Oh, Hamish, you're a workhorse. We love you for it.
Thank you. And you can leave a comment on our Facebook page or our website on each article or on one of the episodes. You can do that. Leave us a comment on Twitter as well as Instagram. You can also leave us a voicemail if you call the listener feedback line. If you leave a voicemail, we'll play it on air. You can call 469-TG-GEEKS, and that is 469-844-3357. And as always, please play nice. As everybody knows, we are huge supporters of independent creators, whether it's filmmakers, comic book artists, writers, others. If you are an independent filmmaker, we love to support you. We want you to go to their websites, their Instagram pages, their Twitter pages, their Etsy pages, their, what else? Any place that you can find out about anybody that's creating art or creating other things, please go there, look at their stuff, tell other people about their stuff, chat them up. And buy their stuff.
Well, in an air of transparency, we just did that for a new documentary that is going to be filmed on Star Trek Voyager.
Yeah. I mean, we do it for lots of things.
We've done it for movies. We've done it for Russ Emanuel.
Yeah.
We've done it for Jason T. Gaffney.
Yeah.
Because these are things that we believe in, and we would like to see other people do that as well.
Exactly. So please consider supporting independent creators. If you are trans or are questioning your gender identity, and if you are in crisis or are feeling isolated and need someone to talk to, or you know of someone in a similar situation, there is a special hotline just for you. The hotline is provided by translifeline.org and staffed by trained counselors who are transgender themselves. The hotline in the U.S. is 877-565-8860. In Canada, it is 877-330-6366. Or you can go to translifeline.org to learn about the important work they are doing. Please reach out for help. You are not alone.
Yeah, baby. They're like 2 gay geeks. They're together, They're 2 gay guys and they're geeks. Is that okay?
We've got about 6 minutes left or so, but we got to talk about something we wrapped up last night on.
Holy moly, cannoli.
Yeah.
Jiminy Christmas.
Yeah. I don't know how many superlatives.
We talked about last week starting the newsroom.
And we finished it last night.
We're done.
Yeah, we finished it. It's not that many episodes. It's not like The West Wing that took, a month to watch.
This was only 25 episodes, but wow, what a compelling series.
This was brilliant beyond words. And again, I want to give a tip of the hat to Shaznay, because he was the one on Facebook. He's the one who turned me on to this, because he had mentioned The West Wing. I said, I like The West Wing. And then he got back with me and said, you really need to take a look at the newsroom. Not as many episodes, but I think you'll love it. And he was right. I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was incredible. I think about all of the technical snafus that we've had, and all the stuff that we do for this podcast, but my Lord, and I know that some of it is sensationalized, but a newsroom, good grief, you got to be able to multitask 25 things at once.
It's amazing people don't have more gray hair there.
Oh,
and I say that kind of lightly, but that is really an environment for some really bad stress.
Right. And Jeff Daniels was brilliant.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Well, I can't knock anybody in that cast.
Yeah,
I thought they
no.
were all amazing. And I love Sam Waterston as Charlie.
Wow.
He was great. And then you bring in Jane Fonda
Oh, my gosh, yes.
as Leona. I mean, oh, my God, she was amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, this series was fantastic, and I liked how, Aaron is a researcher when it comes to doing a show. He wants to make sure that he gets it right, and he spent a lot of time in a television news studio because he really wanted to get all the nuts and bolts right, and I think he did it.
Exactly, I think he did.
It was a fantastic show. People, I really recommend it. Take a look for The Newsroom. It's on HBO Max. I think it's on.
It's only 25 episodes.
Yeah, it's only 25 episodes. You could probably
blow
buy
through
it.
that, yeah.
But it is so worth it. The storytelling is almost British in nature, and I say that because they could tell a lot of story in just 1 hour's worth of episode.
Right, and it is very fast-paced.
Very.
Even more fast-paced than the West Wing was.
Yeah, well, they had more time to spread that one out because it was a network show. Being that this was HBO, he only had so many episodes per season to work with. But yeah, he really crammed it through. But wow, check out The Newsroom. You won't be sorry.
Exactly.
And it's time for our weekly review. These are the news items that we ran on our website.
Our weekly recap.
Yeah, weekly recap. Wacky recap. That we ran. These are the things we ran on our website at tggeeks.com, and the links for each of these items will be in the show notes for this episode at tggeeks.com, episode number 320, starting with on Sunday, March 28th, Nerdy Chupacabras number 41. On Monday the 29th, TG Geeks episode number 319. On Tuesday the 30th, Wrath of Man, a Guy Ritchie film in theaters May 7th. I'm really looking forward to that because I love Guy Ritchie. On Wednesday the 31st, BAFTA-nominated Limbo from Ben Sharrock in theaters April 30th. On Thursday, April 1st, and this is not an April Fool's gag, Andrew Zangle, French Exit is absurdly humorous. And then on Friday the 2nd, Hamish Downey's new Sushi number 114, morsels of the news from Japan and beyond, and we close the week. Saturday the 3rd, Ben's Breakdown, Godzilla vs. Kong delivers the goods, but is it art?
And you can find all those things at tggeeks.com.
Have a couple of shout-outs.
I guess I should have said, find all those things at tggeeks.com and use my podcast voice.
You just did.
There we go.
And it's time for our shout-outs now. These are some people and organizations that we have to give some shout-outs because of all the good they do for us. First, to the Arkle Times Post-Dispatch News. You heard from Arkle earlier in our feedback. He is Brian Weber.
Yes,
he puts out.
owe him a response to an email. Sorry.
Yes, you do. The Post-Dispatch News republishes our content from time to time. And you can find the Post-Dispatch News by finding him on Twitter. Search for Arkle at ARKLE. And while you're at it, go to YouTube and look for Arkle Studios, youtube.com/Arkle Studios, because he has a number of projects there. His Shameless Cash Grab series, his Rants vs. Zombies series, which has officially ended, but you can always listen to past episodes, as well as his game videos for Trick and Treat and Star Trek Online. We must also give some shout-outs to a couple of Facebook groups for allowing us to post our episodes and relevant articles on their pages. First, Two Gay Geeks After Hours, who told us we could share away our content there. And their URL is facebook.com/group/Gay Geeks After Hours. And then to The Gay Geek for the same. And their URL is facebook.com/group/The Gay Geek. And we must give special thanks to their moderator, Jeremiah Reeves.
Thank you, Jeremiah. And we can also be found where? Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Amazon Podcasts, as well as where other fine podcasts can be found. Also, check us out on Sci-Fi Radio, formerly Krypton Radio. You can check us out at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. Pacific Time on Tuesdays and listen to their other content. They're a 24-hour geeky sci-fi internet radio station. Please rate us and review us on iTunes. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast, where I just got a new mouth this morning. Be sure to check
what it is.
That's it. Be sure to check out the article for this webcast episode. We're going to have several links on the page of things that we talked about. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com.
I love how you really emphasize that.
Well, so that people understand what it is. It's
not just the rented lips, huh?
Not just the rented lips.
Okay.
That's right. You can also leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357 from TG Squared Studios. I am Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. Please be kind to yourself and those around you. Still continue to stay home, stay safe, stay sane, and peace.
Cheers, baby.